What draws people together across time, space, and borders? It's not music, movies, poetry, or even books. It's story. From the fireside hunting yarn to the biggest blockbuster, story is what drives humanity. It excites us and sparks our imagination. If you've ever tried to write a story, you may know that it's harder than it seems. Christopher Paolini, author of The Inheritance Cycle, said that before he wrote his first book, Aragon, his stories always flatlined after 5 or 6 pages because he didn't know what came next. So why is he a successful author with a crummy movie based on his epic series? It's because he learned about story structure. Basically, he learned how to plan his stories. Like any other kind of creative activity, storytelling requires a good plan. What may surprise you is that the basics of storytelling have been the same since the dawn of the human consciousness. There's no formula, of course, but if you look across culture, clear patterns emerge. We will explore some of those patterns today. Archetype is arguably the most important tool that the writer has. Defined, archetype is the original pattern or model from which all things of the same kind are copied or on which they are based. Thank you, Bouchard. Some, like renowned psychologist Carl Jung, have even gone so far as to say that archetypes in stories are genetically inherited, part of a collective subconscious that makes us uniquely human. Shakespeare plots are very archetypal. You can see them in romantic comedies, pop songs, and even Disney movies. Look at Hamlet and The Lion King. The main character's father, the king, is killed by the main character's uncle, who usurps the throne, exiling the prince. The king's ghost returns to the prince and tells him to avenge his death. The prince eventually does. The difference in these two stories is the ending. In Hamlet, everybody dies. In The Lion King, there's a slightly happier ending. The next most important tool in the writer's toolbox is the ability to write conflict. Drama is conflict. Conflict is caused by relationships. Thank you, Granger. These relationships, these basic conflicts include man against man against nature, man against himself, man against God, man against society, man caught in the middle, and man against woman. Without conflict, you got no story. Thirdly, you need a structure. Remember first grade? You need a beginning, a middle, and an end. The universally accepted story structure is called the hero's journey. It starts out with your hero, your protagonist, who starts out in an ordinary world, the place he or she calls home. Something happens that changes the protagonist's whole life. They have to make a decision to take action. Once they have, there's no turning back. Then they enter the extraordinary world. Extraordinary world. Harry goes from Privet Drive to Hogwarts.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Charlie gets his golden ticket. Margot comes to your window dressed in black makeup. Frodo takes the ring. Rose boards the TARDIS. Once they've entered the extraordinary world, the conflict really heats up. Things get crazier and crazier until the inevitable climax, where all of the mysteries are solved and all of the bad guys are confronted, and you find out what's in the box and what Snape does to Dumbledore. Then the hero has to go back to the ordinary world, a changed person, bringing back their newfound knowledge. Which brings us to the writer's final, useful tool. There are a couple basic different types of ending. The loop ending brings everything back to where it was at the beginning of the story. Every sitcom has this ending. The surprise ending works well in a plot shrouded with mystery. The big reveal leaves everyone surprised. The happy ending.
Everybody lives, Rose. Just this once! Everybody lives!
The ambiguous ending.
Oh!
Some of my favorite stories have this ending, and I hate them for it. I'm talking to you, my fair lady, and you, the giver, with your ambiguous endings of ambiguousness. The sad but true ending. Romeo and Juliet, Charlotte's Web. That about wraps it up. I hope you learned something. I'm going to make a few more videos about story writing in the future, so leave plenty of nice comments. This is Steve Vader 101.